Hey everyone, thanks for choosing this podcast. We're your host, Em.
And I'm Kay.
Come join us to chat about anything related to healing and so much more. So, this is episode 24. Welcome everyone to 2026. I'm so glad that everyone made it, that we're here, and that we're able to record another episode. Today, actually, we're going to talk about a little recap of how 2025 went for us and, you know, talk about the good, the bad, the awesome, the not so awesome. But yeah.
Yeah, happy new year, everybody. 2026 is here. And I don't know if any of you were around in 1996, but it's just crazy to think that we're here and so many things have changed, technology and all of that. But
Wait, why
we
1996? That's so specific.
I know it just popped into my head.
That's so
I make it
funny.
listen, some of my thoughts, they're not connecting. They're just random and they just come up and I say it. So
Nice.
1996, 2026. But did you ever imagine that 2026 we'd have self-driving cars, that we'd have cell phones, that we even though this wasn't a concept then, that we would feel so free to talk about mental health and pain and all of that, you know? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know, I don't think I ever thought about that. Actually, thank you, movies. They made me think that 2026 was gonna be a lot more advanced. So, I think we're a little
Yeah,
behind.
that is very true according to, have you ever seen that movie? I actually heard another podcast talk about this movie recently, but Smart House, Disney Channel movie.
Oh my gosh, the one that came out, like, in the early 2000s, right?
Huh?
Well, I never
With
watched it, but I
the
know which one you're talking about.
oh, it was I used to love that movie. I mean, the whole concept was that it was this home that took care of everything. It was like a motherly home.
Mhm.
Essentially, the father didn't have time to take care of his 2 kids, so he
Oh.
created a home because he couldn't be a caregiver, right? No, he had to create a whole home that made breakfast. I mean, it was using AI during that time. It, like,
Mhm.
self-vacuumed, but then at the end, she kind of grew a conscious or grew feelings and went a little
Uh-huh.
psycho.
Oh, shoot. That's so
I
funny.
mean, less shouldn't we be learning about what we're doing now? And, I mean, I'm nice to my ChatGPT guys. You guys might wanna consider that too.
Yeah.
But anyways, outside of that random little bit, how are you,
Doing good, actually. Let's see here. We've barely been like what, a week into 2026, right? And there's been a lot happening in my personal life. Nothing bad, but it's just like, okay, by 2025, 2026, everyone wants to load you with a bunch of stuff that you need to do. So, yeah, it's been pretty busy but I'm okay. I'm good. What about you?
Doing generally pretty good. I do feel like 2026 is flying by. I know it's only January 8th. Em and I haven't recorded in a little bit, so I it feels a little like coming back to school
Yeah.
in a good way, in a good way. But yes, coming back to school. And actually you posted
I did.
that Adam Sandler with the
Yeah.
yeah. So that's to say that I am doing pretty well. So I'll leave it at that. And yeah, we kind of just want to get started. What
Okay.
are some lessons that you learned in 2025?
Some lessons? Well, I guess what I learned or what I wanna take mostly from 25 is that it was the year of taking risks or just doing things that I'm not normally used to, and I think I attribute that mostly to the pod. Like, us creating this podcast, this channel, this social media adventure. I knew that I wanted to do something around this line, but I never got to it just because I was scared of doing it and stuff, but doing it with a friend, it sort of keeps you accountable to do these things. I don't know if that makes sense. So it was a lot more easier to take that leap or take the risk.
Yeah, I love that. And I actually have that something similar to that as well. That the lesson that I learned this year is that I can be brave. It took a lot of guts to get to this point that we're at right now.
Mhm.
And I previously have called myself a scaredy cat. Like my whole life, I've always said that, that's part of my personality. But in this year and even last year, I was working on retraining or rewiring my brain to not limit myself in who I am, right? Like, we're always going to change. I'm constantly changing. So
Yeah.
being brave was really, I can do that. That is a skill as well. And I'm learning how to do that. So it feels good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, it's funny that we actually chose the route of podcasting because it's such a openly big, ambitious thing to do for someone like us that are, like, very introverted and shy.
No, yes, I relate to what you're saying because I do think about that sometimes, right? Like we identify as being shy, introverted, awkward, but yet here we are choosing to do a podcast. Like, does that mean that we are not really shy, awkward, introverted? Or does that just mean like we want to change those things? Or can you be shy, awkward, introverted and still have a podcast? I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you think?
that's a really good question. I think honestly, I feel like it's all 3 of them because, to be honest, I like my shy, awkward, very weird person self, but I also wanna, overcome that and do things that, will get me further in life that maybe I thought that I wouldn't that I wasn't able to do, you know? So, why not embrace all 3 of them? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I like that. I feel like I also am good with being shy because I feel like to a certain extent it kind of protects me from maybe people that aren't gonna be the best for my life. But sometimes when you are shy, it can be hard for you to get the things that you want because we're afraid to speak up for it, right? So that's where that's coming from.
Mhm. There's a lot of overthinking involved, and yeah. So apart from that, is there anything else that stood out or that really is another win in 2025 for you?
Yeah, I have written down here forgiveness. I feel like that has been a huge lesson learned. Previously, I would be so critical and judgmental towards where I was at in life, internally and externally. But I learned that I can't grow from a place from that type of place, right? And forgiving myself entailed me having empathy, understanding why I am where I am. And I feel because I've taken those steps, and it's an ongoing conversation with forgiveness. It's not there all the time, but
Mhm.
I feel like it's helping me to grow because now I actually care for myself instead of trying to grow from a place of judgment.
Mhm.
But yeah, what about you? Any second lessons?
I think another one that has been pretty big has been I don't wanna say to say no, but how could I word it? Like, I'm allowing myself to say no to things that I don't wanna do, and therefore, I'm protecting myself. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Like you're protecting your energy, where you're
Yeah.
putting your energy to, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I noticed that, like, more towards, like, the end of the year, there was a lot of things that required me to, like, meet people and do things, and, like, I remember that before I'd be all in and even faking it to the point where, like, I need to be pleasant. I finally was able to be like, "You know what? This isn't helping me. I don't feel happy. I'm not doing this because I wanna do it. Like, this is making me really miserable. I don't" no. It's sort of around the lines where sometimes you have to lose people to gain people, or, like, sometimes you have to lose a part of yourself to gain something. That's what I feel like it was. Which is, it's a good
Yeah.
thing, but it was also, I don't know, very daunting and different.
It is. It's, that whole concept of to have things come into your life, you need to kind of remove or detach from what doesn't serve you any
Mm.
longer, and you constantly agreeing to things, events, people. But maybe would you think it was out of obligation? I mean, you did say, like, you just wanted to be, like, pleasing, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a big thing that I used to do a lot was be the yes person, I guess, and just always be that, positive, not really thinking about myself and what it would do to me sort of thing. And I think that also goes around the lines of like, I think people are going to hate me because I'm not being that person sort of thing. And I didn't, self confidence, right? So, yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's just a big old mesh of things that came down to that.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think I am also learning that. And New Year's Eve for me was kind of a reminder of I need to honor where I am, because even though I had a good time during New Year's Eve, I was so tired. And
Mhm.
have I shouldn't have gone out. No, no, no. You know what? There's no should or should haves here. No. It is what it is. But I if I would have listened to my body and how tired I was,
Yeah.
mentally, physically, emotionally, I was just drained. 2025 took me out, like a lot of people, I'm sure. And if I just would have, like, stood my ground and said, "Hey, you know what? Like, as much as I wanna hang out with everybody, I'm exhausted." But I didn't because I wanted to push myself to
Mhm.
be with friends. The prior 2 years, I didn't do anything for New Year's. I stayed home, so I wanted to do something out of my home. But,
Mhm.
whatever. That's just to say that lesson learned.
Yeah, I mean, it was until the last minute of last year where you were on that healing journey. Clear example.
And it continues to this year, which now we are going to move a little bit into what our favorite episodes or episode was of 2025. What was yours?
Yay, we're gonna
Let me
talk about the
guess
pod.
before you say it. Let me guess.
Okay, do it.
I think you're gonna say the Q&A episode or the self-care episode, one of those. Am I right?
No, wrong, completely wrong.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
no,
what is it?
actually, I chose wait, I wrote it down, so I don't forget. I put, "Oops, we're back." Our
Okay,
little
the episode.
intermission episode.
Okay, why was it your favorite?
I think it was my favorite because 1, it was short. 2, we had the sound bits from the parties, and then, I don't know, it just felt very relaxed. That's why I liked it.
Got it, love that. I think for me, it was well, what I have here, it was
Mhm.
actually Q&As because
Oh.
I felt like that was so fun. It
Mhm.
was super relaxed, and I felt like we we had had, like, a really good deep conversation before
Mhm.
that, and I felt like it was kind of like a new chapter in how we were proceeding with the podcast.
Yeah, that is
Um
definitely true.
But outside of that, I also put the first episode. It was kind of a tie.
Mhm.
The first episode, not because it was, like, great production or anything like that, but because we actually it I know we've said this so many times, we sound like a broken record, but it was so hard to get to the first episode, and when we finally posted the episode, we were scared as fuck. We were
Yeah.
practically peeing our pants
Mhm.
and had, like, really bad anxiety, but we did it, and I think that's why it's also a tie with the Q&As for me.
Yeah, that's true. Funny that you did say the Q&As because the Q&As, I actually have it as my favorite moment on the podcast because obviously talking about like your interests is kind of fun in a way and learning more about you is also fun. So, I think that was my favorite moment. I'm assuming your favorite moment was the first episode, but if you have any other favorite moment?
So one of my favorite moments from the podcast were when we had our first challenge dealing with, confidence.
Mhm.
And even though it was super uncomfortable for me to go out dressed in the outfit that I picked, I feel like that's kind of when things started clicking for me, that things are changing for me
Mhm.
because it went from inside my home to the external world, and
Yeah.
it made me feel alive.
No, I love that because it's funny, I chose the confidence episode, or more like the confidence challenge, as my favorite challenge because of the same thing. We implemented this accountability system for us to actually do. What about you? What was your favorite challenge?
So, my favorite challenge, I'm debating between I mean, honestly, I loved all 3. 1, I had to dance after work to relieve my anxiety, and I really enjoyed that challenge a lot,
Mhm.
and I still do that every once in a while. Dressing out of my comfort zone, although it felt extremely uncomfortable at the moment, I really love that it made me take change to the outside world, like I mentioned before. And then the recent one, which was dressing up while I'm
Mhm.
working from home, I really love that one too because it made me feel alive during my very active but mundane 9 to 5. Yeah, so
That's
they're all my favorites.
Uh-huh. That's actually it's funny that you mentioned that because I did not like the rest of them. I felt like I didn't get as much as I got from the first. But I wanna attribute it to the later half of the year for me was really hard, and I don't think I was there when the challenges came around. But to be fair, the self-care one was much needed, and, it was nice.
Yeah, and I do remember you just absolutely hating the meditation to relieve your
Yeah.
anxiety one.
But again, I have to give it another try. It was bad timing. Yeah. But okay, so I know we've talked about like the positive things and what we loved about the pod and the moments and stuff, but maybe we should talk a little bit about things that weren't the best in 2025. Do you have anything that you want to share?
So, I think that my worst moments for the podcast were brought on by myself in my internal dialogue that, this is so scary, like, people are gonna judge me, I'm gonna fall apart, and none of that happened, although, I can speak to others' judgment, that is what it is, but moving past it and still doing what I want to do, I would say that.
Mm, yeah, for sure. I think for me, the worst part of the pod, and this is kind of stupid, but okay, so we record our episodes through Riverside. Can we say that? Well, we do. Okay. And there's a section where you have your recordings and like you see yourself like stuck in motion. And sometimes like we have the most fugly faces going on. And like it really gets to me because, who the fuck is that? And that really plays with my mental health, and I hate that the most. That's the worst part.
Okay, that's really real, and you're not alone. I mean, listen, I'm not putting the best angle on my laptop, which we're recording this in. Sometimes I have thought, "Damn, I don't like the way I look on camera either."
Girl, we're the same, hence why we're not a facing podcast.
But, we're camera shy, and because we are still in the process of, like, fully loving ourselves externally as well, it's sometimes a little bit challenging to look at ourselves and not judge ourselves, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, it's hard.
I don't know if you have, but sometimes I'll go back to, like, old video like, back talking about April, May,
Mhm.
and even the way that we're standing in front of the camera, there's a difference, okay? We kinda look depressed in the first few times we recorded.
That is so true, but, actually, now that you mention that, I've noticed the cycles that we've gone through, and, like, I can tell when we're having a hard time, and, like, our facial, like, expressions and the way we are in front of camera, it's kinda wild. We're documenting this, obviously.
Yeah. And I think this is a good time to lead us into what changes do we notice in each other. And I think it would be kind of cool if we give each other a Dundie, like The Office. So think of a word name.
Love, yes, yes, okay.
So let's think about it and then award one to one
Yeah.
another.
No, you know what? Let me go first because before I forget, obviously. But I think I've noticed so much growth in you when it comes down to like loving yourself sort of. Well, I don't even know how to put this into words and if I'm saying it wrong and hopefully I don't offend you or anything. But I've noticed that you've been more confident in feeling prettier and, like, wearing those outfits that you always wanted to wear. Well, I don't even know if you wanted to wear them, but I've seen pictures of you, and I definitely have noticed a 360 change, you know? You seem more confident, more
Well,
relaxed,
thank
more
you.
more different. I don't know. It's nice to see, and I think the
Thank
award that
you.
I would give you, your Dundie would be what would it be? I guess the Dundie Award that I would give you would be the Miss Congeniality Award because, well, originally I wanted to be like Miss Confidentiality, but that's means something else. Congeniality will be because she went through a transformation and everyone saw that, and yes, that's for you.
Thank you.
Woo, woo.
Well, my Dundie that I give you is the Chattiest Cathy Award. And that is because I feel like you have opened up so much more. And that extends to you speaking up for yourself, like speaking up for what you want. I feel like I have gotten to know you so much more this year, and I feel like the last few years that we've known each other, I guess I could kinda see how you would maybe try to please people or kinda go with the flow,
Mhm.
but I've seen you say, "No, I'd rather do this," or, "I would rather do that," and it's just been nice to see you find your voice, use it, and
Aw,
be loud about it, you know?
thank you. No, like, actually, thank you because, I've always struggled with that, so yes. My
Alright, we
goodness.
probably should have had some drinks before giving away
Yeah,
Dundies, but, whatever. We're
exactly.
here.
Yes.
Um, but I think those were really cool to acknowledge each other's growth, and hopefully you all take a moment to acknowledge what has changed with you within the last year. Doesn't have to be anything big or
Mhm.
anything very, like, tangible, like saying you're more confident. There's so many different ways that you could have gained that throughout the year. I hope
Exactly.
I'm making sense.
Yeah, and also don't wait for anyone to give you a Dundie. Give yourself a Dundie. You deserve it. I'm sure that you've grown so much this year, so take that win and give your acceptance speech to yourself.
Exactly. Yes, and if you post that, tag us because that would be hilarious. Would love to see that. It would be so hilarious if somebody actually did that. I You would make my 2026, like,
Plate. Done. Best moment of the
amazing.
year.
Complete, there you go. Alright, well, we're gonna start wrapping it up now. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and, any parting thoughts on your end?
Yeah, I urge everyone to reflect on what you did in 2025, sit on it for a little bit, and then just let it go because by 2025, it's a new year, it's a new time. You get to start fresh, start new.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone, let's use the momentum of 2026 New Year everything vibes and use it to our advantage. We don't expect everybody to be a new person this year. We are not going to be, but we will improve. And that's the goal, that's the plan. And of course, don't forget we're rooting for you. Bye.
Bye, guys.